Welcome back to another 40th anniversary posting of my G.I. Joe collection. For the past few months, I've been posting these daily on my social media. This is a compilation of my Series 9 figures and vehicles. These figures are in varying states, and some have a lot of wear and tear on them, some also have their accessories, and some do not. With all that being said, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and by all means leave some stories in the comments if you had some of these figures. Thank you, and enjoy. Here is Intervention Specialist, codename Bullhorn. Part of Series 9 from 1990. When I saw this figure on the shelf, I knew I needed to have him. His rifle and gas mask are fantastic, and that bullhorn, which also doubled as a gas gun. I didn't realize that's what it was until just now, 32 years later. This figure had a great sculpt and a paint job that was in the normal range of colors for G.I. Joe. I also liked that he had face paint on. And then the best piece of them all was the case. And when you pop that open, there was 3 pieces in there that assembled into a long-range rifle, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. I remember playing with him and only taking that rifle out in very specific instances. I didn't want to lose a single one of those pieces. I still have all of his accessories, so this is a complete figure. Here is Hand-to-Hand Combat Specialist, codename Captain Gridiron. Part of Series 9 from 1990. I don't know why they're calling him a hand-to-hand combat specialist when he comes with a giant machine gun with missiles strapped all over it. I'm assuming the hand-to-hand combat comes into play with his football background. I think at this time I was playing Pop Warner football, as well as collecting football cards, and I immediately gravitated to this guy. His helmet and his pads were all very football, as well as the grenades that strapped to his leg even had little football laces on them. This figure is complete. I have all of his grenades and missiles and everything. Here is Cobra Ninja, codename Night Creeper. Part of Series 9 from 1990. This is not one that I had growing up. I think I passed him over on the shelf a few times. The purple and the camo didn't really work for me. This one came to me from an auction and was heavily played with, as you can see. He didn't come with any of his accessories, which were a crossbow, 2 different swords, and a backpack. I don't have a lot of memories with this guy, so if you had this figure and you had some good stories with him, leave a comment. I'm still not quite sure how I feel about this guy.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Here is Jungle Assault Specialist, codename Pathfinder. Part of Series 9 from 1990. Another guy that came with so many accessories. I'm not complaining. Well, I'm complaining a little bit. At least they got smart with this one and added little ball joints on his hips so you can attach the machine guns there. And he didn't have to hold on to them, and they could just hang there while he used his weed whacker, or weed eater as they're calling it, in his other hand. I like this guy's cohesive color scheme that he had going on. I did get a few more of these from a few different places, but neither of them are complete. This is my original, and I have all of his accessories, so this is a complete figure. Here is Shoreline Defender, codename Rampart. Part of Series 9 from 1990. When I saw this guy on the shelf, I had to have him. That machine gun is gigantic. He could lay suppressive fire for days. I remember him vaguely from the cartoon, and at that point in time, I was watching so many different shows that it's hard to remember him in amongst all the other Joes that were there. He had a great sculpt and a nice cohesive color scheme, except for the camo boot covers, which kind of don't go with the rest of his uniform, but I still love this figure. I have all of his accessories, so this is a complete figure. Here is Cobra Wilderness Trooper, codename Range Viper. Part of Series 9 from 1990. I'd say this figure is in my top 10 Cobra figures of all time. The weird brain helmet thing was something that was completely different than anything that had been released before. I also like that his face mask was kind of a skull. This sculpt was great with the bandolier of bullets, and his accessories were fantastic. That grenade launcher is great. Since I never had Hardball's grenade launcher, this was up there with one of my top favorite weapons. That missile launcher, however, is kind of lackluster. Like, everything about this figure is great except that missile launcher. I still have all of his accessories for this, so this is a complete figure. Here is Cobra Mountain Trooper, codename Rock Viper, part of Series 9 from 1990. This Viper was one of my favorites. The grapple hook on his backpack, the giant rifle and scope, fantastic. Even had a little pistol. And just his color scheme. I really liked the maroon and cream color with black camo accents. He actually needed to have his rubber band replaced for this shoot, and his crotch piece actually ended up breaking during the process. Thankfully, it was only a minor repair with some super glue. I made sure to keep good track of all of his accessories, so this is a complete figure.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Here is Sky Patrol Demolitions Expert, codename Static Line, part of Series 9 from 1990. This figure was part of the Sky Patrol line, which contained 6 other figures. I like the idea of having a Joe with a parachute that I could throw off somewhere and him float safely to the ground. I don't remember taking the parachute out very often, only because I remember it being a pain to fold back up and put back into the backpack. He had a really cool helmet, as well as that thing, whatever that thing is that you slot the gun into. It says it's a gun, but I don't think it's a gun. The gun slides into that thing. But whatever grippy claw thing that is, I always thought that was pretty awesome. I still have all of his accessories, so this is a complete figure. If you had Static Line or any of the other Sky Patrol, leave a comment and let me know. Here is Medical Specialist, codename Stretcher, part of Series 9 from 1990. Unlike Lifeline, I gravitated to Stretcher. Why? I'm not quite sure, but if I had to make a guess, it was probably because of his little sled skiff thingy. This figure was a great sculpt, a nice cohesive paint scheme across the board, and that little skiff definitely sold it. He came with a flare gun and a radio. Unfortunately, those were 2 tiny pieces that got lost. This guy showed up later in the cartoon run, and again, at that time, I was already watching a lot of other shows, so he kind of gets lost in the shuffle in my mind. But I do know I played with him a lot because I really dug this figure. Here is G.I. Joe vehicle, codename Hammer, part of Series 9 from 1990. I remember seeing a commercial for this and I needed to have it. Went to Toys R Us one day and there it was on the shelf. And I most likely begged and pleaded to get it. This vehicle is fantastic. Original price $12.99. This would be $300 right now. Man, I would have bought 6 of these. This vehicle held a lot of guys. It looks like about 11 guys that you could put in or on this vehicle. I did have to clean this up a bit before I filmed it. There was still some residual dirt on it from me playing with it outside often. All in all, I'm only missing a few pieces for this. If you also had this vehicle and tried to stuff as many Joes as you could into it, leave a comment and let me know.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.